Okay. Hey, everybody. You're on the
Hello.
Avalon Universe YouTube channel, but tonight we're talking about a very special film. That is Warbird Valdore's latest episode, Smoke and Mirrors. So, not talking about an Avalon Universe film, but, we've partnered with Dominion Media over the past couple of years for some very wonderful projects. And, we wanted to showcase this amazing and ambitious new film that they're releasing tonight and, celebrate it, celebrate the work that went into it, celebrate the work we put into making it and the fun that we had. So, on the panel here with us before we show the movie, we've got Randy Wren and Gary Davis, who are the showrunners of Dominion Media. We've got
And Alan.
Dan Scanlon and Alan Anderson, who are our amazing audio crew. Dan was the boom operator and Alan was the production sound mixer. We have Ed Oborowski here with us, who acts as a producer on not just Dominion films, but on Avalon and Tales from the Neutral Zone and many other films. He's an actor in the Dominion films. And of course, certainly not least, Tori Avalon, who is the captain of the amazing Dreadnought Dominion, somebody we all love and appreciate, and we're glad you could be here with that beautiful cat. So before we get to the film, Gary, previously you had said in another interview that when you decided to start these other spinoffs, the Valdore and the Project Runabout, you were afraid you were going to give Randy a heart attack. This is like this epic CW crossover. It's like an Arrowverse crossover, where you start in the, like Legends of Tomorrow, and then you do a Flash episode, and then you end with the Arrow. That's kind of what this is. When the idea came up to do this epic Dominion crossover, was it the same situation? Did you think maybe you were going to give Randy a heart attack?
Well, I wasn't really thinking at all because we had just wrapped a production and I was the first one to get to the...
Sorry, that was on me.
No worries. I was the first one to get to the dinner venue. So I ordered a beer. And so I had a beer, and then people came, I ordered a second beer. And then on the third beer, I go, I've got an idea. I said, we're going to do this. And Randy's like, oh God.
I was going to say, Randy's sort of famous for this phrase where he's like, well, that's just the way the popcorn pops. And
right.
And it's a little hard to get Randy rattled. So Randy, like, despite all of the I'm going to give him a heart attack, what did you really think when Gary came to you with these crazy ideas of his? Oh, we're not hearing you.
I've known Gary for a while now. So, nothing he does or says really surprises me too much. So my first thought was, I'm too old for this crap. And then I thought, well, okay, we'll give it a go. he pitched when he first pitched the Warbird Valdore to me, I remember I said, well, okay, as long as they are the heroes of the story and it's like their version of Star Trek that they watch on Romulus and Remus.
Right.
And he's like, that's exactly what I had in mind.
And are now a couple of episodes into Warbird Valdore, are you guys happy with how it's turning out?
Yeah, I really like it. It's a different vibe, and we're so fortunate to have people like Thomas Dye, who he just lives and breathes the Romulan culture. He's responsible for all the uniforms, all of the set design. He took a Romulan captain's chair that I created. I just made it green, but he took it home and he made it truly epic. And then we needed a prop for this particular episode, and Kevin goes, Thomas goes, here, hold my beer. And then he made it. He just made it. So we're just fortunate for that. And then, everybody who just is involved in this is first rate. and you, Josh. I mean, gosh, you come and you make it look so spectacular.
I didn't do anything.
He also did all the styrofoam stuff we put in the corridor, all the hide the black strips and with the yellow strips.
We did exactly what they did back in the original series. You know, the original series, they just took the Enterprise sets and redressed them into a Romulan D7. So, you know, we really did a great job, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without Thomas or Kevin, whatever his name is today. But I'm very happy with the way this has turned out, and so you know we've had 2 episodes and a short, and you know, and the Valdore crew is really meshed really well, you know, and with Donna as the science officer, I just love Donna to death. You know, she was shooting and doing her acting, and she had this little nervous tick with her fingers. And Randy goes, "Tell Donna to quit that." And I said, "No, I like that. Let her do that." So it's that kind of stuff is what makes me really like how Valdore has turned out.
Very good. So we got some of our friends out here in the chat with us. We've got Kevin Thomas Dye with us, who he's not just an actor, man. He does really great Romulan makeup. He did mine. So, you know, and so he's with us. Terry Stanford's with us. Mark Philippe. We've got Michael Sean Carter. So we got a lot of our wonderful friends with us, and we'll have some more questions. And if you got questions in the chat, feel free to put that there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch Smoke and Mirrors and do a little MST3K action while we're watching it. Woo.
Who are you? I wanted him to watch me enter the rift. You see, my ship is just small enough to enter it. He would have to watch helplessly as I began my journey to end his miserable existence.
If you can convert it from Romulan to English type.
And you ruined my plans.
Captain's log, stardate 5108.3. We are en route to starbase K7, where we plan to hand over the strange portal-generating device that we confiscated from the Mokhtai's hammer after the Yorktown incident.
Open a secure channel to High Command.
Yes, Commander.
I've been waiting for your communications. You know I don't like waiting.
We were unavoidably detained, but we have secured the location of the device.
You know all the right things to say, don't you, Commander? Very well. I want that device. How soon can you deliver it?
If our intelligence is correct, we should have it within a few cycles.
Don't bore me with excuses, Commander. If I have it within 7 cycles, there will be a substantial reward. If not, well, there will be consequences.
I can imagine, Admiral.
Can you? Just bring it to me, Commander. For the glory of the Praetor. Admiral Perem, out.
For the glory of the Praetor.
She thinks very, very highly of herself.
I haven't spoken on these. I want
My end. I'm not hearing any of the opening music here.
Science officer, I've asked you to run a thorough scan of the area where the Vancians have been punching a hole into our dimension. Do you have any result?
Yes, Commander. On screen.
I see nothing interesting of this area of space. What's so special about this?
Commander, there are very large concentrations of a newly discovered dark matter molecule called diaperture.
So?
These molecules tend to phase in and out of our dimension. It is believed their presence is what allows the Vancians to enter and exit, seemingly at will.
They have been entering into our space and our dimension more and more frequently. They are testing our military might and our resolve to defend our glorious empire. These incursions will not be tolerated any longer. Helm, plot a course, the center of those incursions. Engage Warp 4.
The instability of this space, it's pulling us in every direction simultaneously.
If space were a river, this would be the rapids.
This is the rapids. I do not want to see the waterfall.
We've been spotted.
Target that ship and fire all disruptor cannons.
Their shields are down and their main power is failing.
Activate tractor beam and bring that Vancian ship right alongside us. Activate our cloak and make sure our prisoners are covered as well. And bring us within 500 feet of that anomaly.
All this pretty CGI.
Yes, Commander.
Assemble a boarding party. Escort 2 of the highest ranking officers into the brig. Kill the rest.
Fine, Morta.
Send a team of our best interrogators to the brig. I need to know everything there is to know about these guests. Science officer, have you figured out why we were so easily able to disable their ship?
It is either because we caught them off guard, or...
Continue.
Sensor readings indicate overall power levels dropped immediately after their transition into our dimension. These power levels do not match those of the ships from our previous encounter. It could be that their power levels require some recovery time following transition into our dimension.
That would be most fortunate. Attention all hands. Until further notice, run silent. Shut down all systems other than life support, security measures, and gravity. Let's sit here at their doorstep and see who peeks out. Silent!
Forgive my impertinence, Commander, but I'm not sure silence is necessary. Their sensors are primitive. The Valdore and the enemy ship inside our cloak are safe from detection.
It's good to know. Anything else you discovered?
I have detected at least 20 Pyramid cruisers and 100 of the battleship-class ships, like we encountered in our previous engagement.
By the Praetor.
The nearest planet has various shipbuilding facilities and several large space stations. Communications traffic is heavy between all the ships, stations, and planets.
Every indication is they are preparing for an invasion.
And we are their first targets. What we have seen must have been an advanced base, or perhaps their homeworld. Whatever it is, they must be stopped, and fast. Martha, stay.
Yes, Commander.
Were any of your team aboard that ship?
Yes, Commander. 2 personnel remained aboard for information gathering, but they were unable to transmit their data to us because we were running silent.
What you are seeing is a barren and lifeless world, a planet of a subjugated race. It's been stripped of all its useful resources, and its indigenous population has been removed. Classified. This weapon is known only to its development scientists and a handful of the Praetor's innermost circle.
How soon can you get this weapon to the Valdore?
The weapon requires red matter, Commander, which, as you know, is very rare. We only had enough to make 2 prototypes, the first of which was used in the demonstration you just witnessed. The second is being held in reserve for use in only the most dire circumstances. There would have to be an immediate threat to the Romulan Empire.
By now, I'm certain you've heard of the interdimensional race called the Vancians. They have broken into our dimension several times. We have discovered their homeworld and the portal into our dimension. Threat is imminent.
We could build a few more devices in a few months.
Matter. Fight me.
We do not have a few months, Commander. We have reason to believe that an invasion is imminent. However, if you insist on twiddling your thumbs until an attack begins, well, I'm sure the Praetor will be most understanding.
Commander, if you will proceed to these coordinates, there will be a courier from which you can take possession of the remaining device.
You are wise, Commander. Glory to the Praetor.
Glory to the Praetor!
Devarro. First Officer Callie, proceed to the following coordinates. Maximum warp.
Yes, Commander. Commander, incoming transmission from Starfleet.
Speak.
Commander Devarro, I do hope you're doing well. As you can see, I just moved into my new office here as the Romulan liaison to Starfleet Command, and I wanted my first official communication to be with you. I feel like we have a very special relationship, you know, a sort of bond between us. I'll never forget that you saved my life, rescuing me from those dastardly pirates. You know, Starfleet has always been of the belief that it is better to communicate even if all the involved entities disagree. It's only through communications that we learn and grow together. It is said that for millions of years man lived just like the animals. Then something happened to unleash the power of our imaginations. We learned to talk. War and disharmony can be avoided. It doesn't have to be like this. All we have to do is make sure we just keep talking.
Have you extracted any information from our guests?
Times are tense.
Both prisoners have fallen ill, and before they abandoned the proceedings, they did give us some very interesting information. It seems that they have been scanning our dimension for a very long time, and in all those centuries, only one planet has ever given off a specific tachyon frequency.
Thank you for reaching out, Commander Chamberlain. I will take into account everything that you have said. Continue.
We believe it is evidence of the legendary Takong portal.
So the Iconium portal is not just a myth?
Apparently not, Commander.
I believe by combining this power of the Kataka device and this Iconium portal that we could penetrate their dimension and transport people anywhere on their planet.
We can deliver the red matter weapon to their home world and be out so fast they will never know what hit them.
Mothastic, as soon as we meet the courier ship and are in possession of that red matter weapon, tell him to set a course maximum warp to that portal planet.
Yes, Commander.
First Officer, Mothastay will be bringing you a set of coordinates. Follow them precisely. Mothastay, we must run silent, and we must run cloaked. Now go. I must think.
Commander, we've just cleared the final Federation listening post. There is no indication that we have been detected.
There was a few places in the script where I wondered if I had gone too far.
Captain, we're being hailed by listening outpost 37B on a secure channel.
Thank you, Lieutenant Russell. On screen.
Captain, we have detected a Romulan D7 running along the neutral zone border. Now, I know that's nothing unusual, but they were running cloaked, and they seem to be on course for Haas 523, an unremarkable planet in the darkest corner of an unremarkable sector. It makes no sense.
Wait a minute. You say you detected a cloaked Romulan ship?
Our station was recently upgraded with a tachyon detection grid.
Well, I guess we've just entered a new era. Were you able to identify them?
It's the Valdore, Captain.
Is it?
Oh, and Captain.
Yes?
Before they went silent, we caught a few pieces of subspace chatter. There was talk about some sort of new super weapon and...
Go on.
Something about a Kataka device. Not sure what that means.
Do you have any more details?
No, I'm afraid not.
Very well. Thank you very much, Commander.
Seaver, ma'am.
Commander Seaver, thank you very much. Please send us the coordinates to Valdore's apparent destination and show us on our way. Dominion out.
Entering low orbit, Commander.
Scan for tachyon emissions.
I've never seen anything like it. The tachyon readings are unprecedented.
Can you pinpoint a location?
Yes, Commander.
Mothastay, have an away team meet us at transporters in 10 minutes. Also, prepare the red matter weapon and the Kataka device for transport to the surface.
Yes, Commander.
That's got to be it.
I would love to study this thing's power source. We could learn so much.
Perhaps another time. Right now, stay focused at the task at hand.
Commander, you've done it. It's the Vancian homeworld.
It is a great day for the Empire.
We will finally be rid of them.
Glory to the Praetor!
Yes, I suppose so. Now bring me that red matter weapon. It is time to finish them.
Praetor, Schmator.
What are they doing here?
Romulan forces! We have you outnumbered and outflanked. Lower your weapons.
Starfleet doesn't know what they're meddling with. What's on the other side of that portal is a danger to us all.
Hold your position. Where is Captain Farrell?
Take it easy, Starfleet. I have no idea where your captain is, or what is going on here. Care to repeat your conjecture, First Officer? There's no indication that we've been detected. Hear me, comrades. Starfleet Starfleet may have won the battle today, but not the war to come. They are meddling in affairs that they do not understand.
What of the Kataka device, Commander?
I suppose it will continue its journey onto Starfleet's ridiculous Department of Temporal Investigations. No matter. They're far too ethical to use it against us. I will report that it did not function as we had planned. Better to appear misinformed than incompetent. The red matter weapon is still secure, and it is still a secret, and we'll give it back to High Command. The intelligence we gathered at the Vancian portal will have to suffice.
What about the area around the dimensional incursion points?
High Command can dispatch a task force to monitor that area of space for any more incursions. You have the bridge, XO. Set a course for home, and for the Praetor's sake, try to avoid those Federation listening posts. I will prepare my report to the Admiral.
Shall I engage the cloaking device, Commander?
Does it even matter anymore at this point? I'll be in my quarters.
Poor Nothmas Day.
Okay. Wow.
Heck yeah.
That was fun.
So Roy Ivy asks, is the Romulan Admiral a new creation?
Yeah, it's a new character, and our cast wrangler Randy found him. He always finds the talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, the question was, go ahead, Randy.
The Admiral was a friend of my son's, and he is a college professor teaching filmmaking, I think.
Nice. So let's see here. One sec. Okay, so Kevin Thomas. we had the discussion before we started about whether it was Kevin or Thomas, but I have a more important question for you now. Help us with the pronunciation of your character's name.
It's just how it's spelled.
It's Mosoth Day.
Mosoth Day.
Senior Centurion.
The entire shoot.
Yeah, it's Thomas Dye with the letters scrambled around.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Randy named me. That's how that happened. Randy named me.
I see that.
He's always the one that gets abused.
He does. Throwing out
Joan would
airlocks.
not be happy if she wasn't doing that.
So this was.
I couldn't help but notice that the door on the bridge pretty much sounds like the door on the bridge, scraping wood on wood.
Well, I kind of enhanced it, but yeah, I kept the wood in, and then I enhanced it because I wanted that rustic feel.
It was enhanced.
I think that Warbird needs to go in for warranty work.
She's brand new. They haven't even taken the plastic off the upholstery.
Still going through sea trials. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I see they go with lowest bidder also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice that when the door opens, there's a big green wall there? It's part of the green screen, but it looks like it belongs there.
Because green is a Romulan color.
Exactly. Okay, I interrupted you, Josh. What were you getting ready to say?
All right.
Green and purple.
So, this shoot, from what I remember of it, was a lot like what we did for Avalon the year before, where we shot like 3 different films all in the same go.
Yeah.
And so we were there for 4 days, I think.
Yep.
For all of you, anyone wants to answer, that's kind of a different experience than the normal Dominion shoot. What was that like for everyone?
Sleep was not something that we were friends with that week.
It was rough. Yeah, and that was I'll take the blame and the credit, whichever it be, because I said I can only come down once. So I said we have to do the pickup shots for Runabout. We have to shoot Valdore, and we have to shoot Dominion. And this is the longest that we've ever had footage in the can that we haven't turned around. So we shot this a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So
exactly a year ago.
Yeah, so we're releasing we released Runabout several months ago and released Valdore tonight, and then Dominion still a few months down the road as well.
Well,
and we also did that day at the green
Avalon
screen.
Films we shot 2 years ago, we haven't released either. So I've still got one left in the can that I'm working on.
So don't feel that bad, Gary. It's slow going, but it's worth it.
But we're used to like months and weeks.
Yeah.
But this has been enjoyable.
We did that. We did all of that. Michael Sean says he's still going to therapy over. We did, all of that ground stuff with the when we were calling, the Iconian Gateway, but we were calling it the Stargate during the whole shoot, and then of course you added in Stargate sounds, but the gate itself was a physical element. So like the background Sam did, but the gate was actually there. We did a whole day around that, and it was like we had almost no idea what was going to be back there. It was just like screen direction and guessing, and Sam gave us a couple of like rough outs of what the background might look at. But what was that, Gary, Randy? What was that experience like for you?
Most of the day that we shot on the green screen sets, I was sick and I was in the down the hall in the little cafeteria area with my head on a desk. So, but I would sneak in every once in a while and say, no, this way, not that way, and then run back and put my head on the desk again.
Yeah, it was nerve shattering. If I didn't take a heavy dose of anxiety medication, I think I would have lost it, because in addition to just being under stress for having to shoot, our lead actress had to leave by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're rushing to get everything shot, but that day was the opposite of Murphy's Law, because anything that could go wrong did not. And everything just fell into place. I mean, literally, when we got done with Joan, we kind of altered the schedule because of her. And we had told Tracy and Dara, our 2 Starfleet officers, not to be there until later. And as soon as we wrapped Joan, I said, dang, I wish that they were here. And all of a sudden they walked in and go, hi, we're here early. Yes. And so everything.
You guys are freaking out over this. To me, this was, as always, a smooth DD operation. So what if it ran a day or 2 more? Frankly, everything was precision. That archway went together beautifully. We worked around it beautifully. Josh, once again, the camera work, I'm just amazed at the little touches, like that baby tracking of yours in some shots. Just everything was just like clockwork. And so what if it was an extra day? I've worked 2 weeks on Star Trek Continues projects that were nowhere near as pleasant.
Oh.
You got to give props to the guy that actually did our CGI, because if you look at those, you look at the shadows that Josh lit the actual physical arch, it matches perfectly with the shadows in the background. So the guy that actually did our CGI did a masterful job when he put that all together.
Yeah, it looks
I was
really
very impressed by that.
Randy did all the work on the backgrounds once he got them from Sam. So Randy is a tireless. He taskmasters himself and spends hours. We spend 5-6 hours on 30 seconds of film.
We do.
You know, Sam is doing great stuff with virtual backgrounds, but it's so nice to have a physical archway that you can interact with and not have to worry about where your foot's going or your nose is going.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that, you know, we did that, and then we did a whole set of Dreadnought stuff that same day on the green screen. So that was only sort of reflective of what, you know, about half of what we did. And I remember my knees were gone at the end of that day. Like, we were there for a long time. And, you know, we all sat down, we had dinner, and it was a great night. You know, what I remember was, you know, a lot like, you know, what was said earlier is that there was a whole lot of sleep. I didn't sleep a whole lot. I blew like 2 tires on my truck on the way down, like about 100 miles out, and Sean Patrick Kennedy had to come out and get me. And, you know, he was the unsung hero of the shoot because, you know, he put Tyler and I up while we were down there. And so it was just, but despite that, you know, he found me a place to get my tires fixed, and for not a whole lot of money. And the thing about Dreadnought and fan film, a lot of fan films in general, Farragut's like this too. For me, there's the shooting, and that's always a good time, but there's this element to it where we, you know, in between the shoots, when the day is over or when the shoot is wrapped, we're all going to IHOP and just having coffee and pancakes and hanging out. Or in this case, you know, there was like an Airbnb that a lot of us stayed at. You know, you guys talk about the family atmosphere and the camaraderie that this group has off camera.
I hate
yes.
all of them.
Most of us have known each other for years.
Yeah.
Some longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan and I go back over 13 years. I've known Gary and Randy for 10. Alan close to that. So
yeah,
that makes a big difference.
Yeah, but it was 10 because we were on Exeter Trek in January 15.
Yeah.
That's right.
We get separation anxiety.
And Alan, you know who I was on the radio with today?
Who's that?
Tony. She played the ambassador, remember?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I do remember.
She helped me fundraise today because she's a longtime volunteer at our station, and she went on the Star Trek cruise. I was very jealous.
And that means I've probably known Gary and Randy longer than that, almost as long as I have been involved with Farragut folks, which is going on 15 years now.
Yeah, ever since I cold called you and say, hey, I need you for an audio adventure. Would you do that for me? And who would have thunk that would have turned into being the captain of Dominion?
Terry says we are family, and you know, Terry should be here with us. She's being bashful and hanging out in the comments, but I want to take a second to really recognize Terry because she took such good care of those sets, and something you know about this weekend that we shot this, especially you know, the Neutral Zone Studios management, i.e. our friend Ray Tessie, wasn't there most of the shoot. And so, you know, a lot of times it was Terry that let us in, Terry that got the studio ready. Terry cleans the place. She fixes odds and ends. She helps out in every way imaginable. And she's the sweetest person you could ever meet, ever know. And she was on screen. She was off screen. She was all over the place. She was getting us food. She was doing whatever. people like Terry are the reason fan films happen. People like Ed, Michael, Sean, all of the people that you don't see on the screen that are so key. We got two of them here with us. We got Alan and Dan. And I got to tell you, I've been working on Farragut 2024. And I got about half the film edited so far. Those guys came up and they helped us for that on audio. It was a godsend. It made the editing process so much easier to have two guys who got solid audio, solid boom placement, and then Alan, mixes perfect levels. He labels, the files so well to where it's easy to find everything, and he nails, like, every time we roll, we cut, whatever. And then of course Victoria was there behind the camera as well. And she was, helping out with that too. So it's like, sometimes we all love Star Trek. We all love fan films. And so we take every opportunity to just help each other out. It's not about my art, your art, it's art. We're all doing it together. And it's a very beautiful thing.
And I miss that art, which is why Alan and I braved an ice storm to come to Maryland.
That and working with Josh is and working with Josh is just fantastic. I mean, not only is he a great DP, but he actually listens to you when you have concerns about what the audio is, that there's background noise. He brings that up. I mean, he's open to listening. Like, we've all worked with other people that are, you do it my way and I don't want to hear anything about it. But Josh is just fantastic.
Plus, take it from me as an old guy here in this bunch, to hear words of thank you, to hear encouragement, to hear specific compliments for everybody that you just heard is rare in this world of multimedia. I just love it because it makes it worth coming back, and I'll do another 13-hour drive to work with the Farragut Forward folks again. And I'll tell you, by hook or by crook, if I got to ride on the back of a bus, I'm getting to Ohio.
So
also this weekend, one thing I want to thank Randy for is he didn't at dinner say, "Oh, by the way, so-and-so's not going to make it. Bring your uniform."
That's happened on a lot of episodes.
Half a dozen uniforms.
Yes, it has.
Well, kids, I have to be on the radio at 7 a.m. tomorrow for a 3-hour shift, so I'm going to call it a night.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
No, thank all of you. I wouldn't have done this for anybody else. So,
Good to
great
see
night.
you again.
bye.
So I want to talk a little bit about our Romulan commander. She's quite the personality on screen and off. Where did
My
the
alien wife,
motivation
yeah.
for her come from? And any funny stories about, Joan on set, that sort of thing?
Well, first time I met Joan was for Exeter Trek, where she played my alien wife when we did the exterior shot down in Orlando in May of 2015. I'll have to send you the pictures of her and I in makeup.
Definitely. Yeah, Joan is what I affectionately call our awesome drop-ins. These are people that were not planned and they just dropped in. Kevin's a drop-in. He just dropped in. He brought his own shirt and he was a background character, and now he's like central to our operations. and Joan was the same thing. She just was a drop-in. Her and her friend, I can't remember how they heard about.
We needed somebody to play a nurse to Victoria's doctor.
Yep. And so, but that was decided when she dropped in. And so she was a nurse, and then we did that for Redemption at Red Medusa, and then we're cleaning up, and Randy and I are saying we need to come back and we need to find a Romulan commander so that we can do the Romulan scenes and all this. She overheard us and she says, "Hey, I've got a Romulan outfit," and we go, "Okay." And so we brought her back, and she was our Romulan commander for Redemption at Red Medusa. And totally, it's the same character, but way different. Because when we gave her Valdore, she and Deborah, they got her own uniforms, and and she was going to wear her black wig again. I go, no. Let's see that red hair. So it's I think that the character just evolved organically, and Joan just brought out the diva-ness in the Romulan commander, and just owned it. So, matter of fact, the whole reason that we have Valdore is because the second time we brought her back, somebody made a comment in the chat that the Romulans should get their own series, and I said, "Sounds good." and that's when I texted Randy and I go, I think we need to do a spinoff. And I could hear his eyes rolling over the phone.
Hey, Josh, you were asking about odd things on set with Joan. Joan is what, maybe 5'4" or 5'5". She's got these huge heels that she wears, so she's almost my size when we're standing together. But she might weigh 110 pounds. So every time you see her pushing me aside or doing something else, we got to shoot that 3 or 4 times, because the first time she did it, I didn't know I was supposed to move. So she hit me in the chest and bounced off, because I didn't know I was supposed to move. And then a couple of times I don't get out of her way fast enough. She clips my shoulder. She'll clip my shoulder. She'll bump into the set and then run into the wall. Then she gives me this look.
Well, Victoria,
she's been a real trooper about it, but.
Victoria, talk about the fight that you two had. I mean, you two went at it. I mean, I thought you were going to hurt each other.
Well, that was interesting. I'm every bit of 6 feet tall and have had some defensive tactics training, but apparently she's actually got some martial arts training. Joan is the one who actually choreographed that fight, and we wanted to make it look real. I lost my footing a couple of went down hard. Fortunately, I know how to fall, so I didn't get hurt. But we wanted to make it look good for the camera, and it looks like we did. It looked better than I've seen in a lot of fan films, but Joan gets the credit for that.
Nice. I have to ask Victoria, was that growl real, or did you just act that growl? Because it when you came out, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I was trying to do something out laughing.
When I was editing that, there was when you ran across the stage, there was your leather-soled shoes slapping on the concrete floor, and you're supposed to be out in a desert, So I thought, that really isn't appropriate. So I found some like footsteps of, shoes on gravel, feet on gravel, walking, and I put that in there. But I wanted to take it all out, but there was parts of it where you were grunting and.
Go back to us, Randy.
Lost you, Randy.
Okay. Randy freezes. He'll be back in a second.
He'll be back in a second. Yeah, you got to do that sometimes. You also get, like, for example, the sound of the wood floors on the set, and a lot of times you take that out and you replace that with, kind of a can foot thing. There you go. There you are, Randy.
He's back.
Sorry, you froze on us.
We lost most of that, Randy.
Yeah, I didn't know. There was a question, I missed it.
You were talking about dubbing the
footsteps. Yeah, that's all. I had to leave the footsteps in when you were fighting because I didn't want to, take the grunts out and the groans and all that, because they were just too good. By the way, someone had said that they liked the force field effect on the.
It was Sam.
Rig. And to whoever said that is an aerial shot from a drone of a swimming pool. So the little designs moving around in it are the little wavelets on top of a swimming pool, and it's kind of got a blue tint to it because it's the bottom of a pool. And I put that in over the door and took down the transparent. Made it very transparent, and I think it worked really, really good.
Now we have Sam with us in the chat, and he should be in here talking with us, but Sam, he normally is just doing spaceships. This time he did those backgrounds. Once we shot
Great
those
job.
plates and we're guessing on screen direction and all that stuff, how well did that process go of integrating the background plates with what we shot?
It went great. Can I share a photograph real quick? Because this feeds into what you said. So, did you notice that when Joan put the Kataka device in the arch, the sunrise was behind the arch?
Right.
Well, this is what. Hold on a second. No, not image. Present my screen. There we go. Share screen window. So this is that shot of you. Can you see it?
Gary. No, it's
Darn
still
it.
you.
I'm trying to add it. Hold on.
All right.
Well,
Present. Share screen. Share screen. Oh, entire
Josh is trying to share it right there.
screen. Okay, now can you
There.
see it?
I can see it. Let me see. Yeah.
So that was you shooting that, and that worked just perfect because
Well,
that
it's not
glow
letting me
was
add it
on
to
her
the
face.
page. I don't know why.
And there,
No. Hold on, Gary. The rest of us aren't seeing it yet.
Yeah, I don't. For whatever reason, I can't. I can see it, but I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see it for whatever reason.
well,
Sorry.
that's okay. But the answer to your question, it was almost seamless. When we described to Sam what was going on, and I even sent him screen captures of we did a rough edit with just a generic background, and just like everything that Sam does for us, and you've got this uncanny read your mind type superpower yourself, Josh. So whenever I say, hey, I need it to look like this, Josh goes, you mean like this? And I go, well, that's 10 times better than I imagined. And
I think what happened too in that instance was that Sam, he had sent us some pre-renders, and I think on those shots I saw that he had the sunlight behind the Stargate, and so I put a rim light on the gate and a rim light on Joan, and it just ended up working out really good.
Perfect. That was one of my favorite shots of the sunrise hitting her, because I said, wow, that was not, I didn't think that was planned, but then you knew what was going on. So that's another reason why I really enjoy having you as DP, because you read our minds and anticipate what we need. And Sam does the same thing. Like, he just did a video project for me literally just a couple nights ago, and I sketched it out in chat and done. Awesome.
Yeah, so Sam
All
says
of those
we
effects
prepped the whole scene, where the sun was, how it looked on setting. Yeah, so yeah, it really did help that he sent a lot of those pre-renders so we could at least sort of imagine where everyone was standing, because it really, you're just on this green screen set, and you're sort of just guessing at what you're trying to film. So it really, I thought it worked out really good. One thing that I want to bring up are the villains of this film. We've talked about how the Romulans are the heroes here. Let's talk about the major Vancians, where that idea came from, and tell us about these guys.
They started on the replacements, didn't they? That was where they started.
We needed a bad guy race for the replacements, and we didn't want to just do Romulans and Klingons and Orions. We wanted something different, and I'm the costumer for the show, so I started looking on Amazon and looking to see what kind of uniform I can get that looks totally alien, and I came across these awesome sweatshirts with hooded sweatshirts, and I go, because they were multicolored and they had those lines across it, and those could denote the rank. And when I said sweatshirts, I called Randy and I go, if I say Star Trek fan films and sweatshirts, who do you think about? And Randy goes, Vance Major. So I said, we should call these the Vancians. And I got a hold of Vance, and I said, I hope that you're going to take this in the spirit of it is, but I'd love to call these aliens the Vancians because they wear these hooded sweatshirts. He says, I love the idea. And he even came up with the idea that they were multi-dimensional. So all that came from Vance.
Nice.
And he says, and they get their energy from their dimension. So we did that in the first Valdore episode where their weapons were being powered by where they were coming from. So they're interdimensional aliens, Vancians, because they like hooded sweatshirts just like Vance, and he came up with everything. And then nice. I take credit for the Squid Game masks because I go, we can't see their faces and don't want to. So I found the Squid Game masks and did the circles for the stormtroopers and the squares, I think. Well, maybe it's the circles are for the officers and the squares were for the stormtroopers.
No, the circles were for the stormtroopers because I found one of the back my prisoner photos there.
No, you were not. You were an officer. You were an officer.
I think one of the biggest considerations
was one of the Vancians.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think one
of the Vancians. I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, we have a shot together, but I don't know if I want to show this because Josh is in the shot for it. It might give away something for the next film.
So I will say this about the Vancians. I loved the idea so much that I had to do what oftentimes we're doing in fan films these days and steal it.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
And so I will say there is a script written for an Avalon universe film where the Vancians will be part of the film.
That's
they will
right.
be the bad guys. You may not see it for about 2 years, but the script is written. So, and who did I call when I was writing? Well, I talked to Gary. I asked Gary some questions, but I called Vance and I got his thoughts. And he gave me some interesting thoughts on what I should do when making them bad guys in Avalon. So, we're going to see the Vancians in Avalon. And they're going to be in the 24th century. They're not going to be in the 23rd century. It's going to be Vancians 100 years after this. And they may be subservient to a certain phantom.
Phantom. As long as they have hooded sweatshirts, you're good.
Hoodies never go out of style.
That's right.
Josh.
Like when Gary first brought up the thing about Valdore, I thought it was great because being in Romulan space, we have access to aliens that Starfleet never encountered because it's all in their section. I was going like, great, we can make up our own.
Yep.
We shall see.
Josh,
so
I
want to
hope
move on to this is going to be a little somber here, and it's going to be bittersweet, but it's something I do think we should talk about. And this was the weekend, and even though we've got a hopeful future now, this was the weekend when we found out that Neutral Zone Studios would be leaving Kingsland while we were filming.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to talk about is we know now, thankfully, thank God, that Neutral Zone is well on its way to rising like a phoenix from the ashes in Sandusky, Ohio. And Ray Tessie's got a really solid plan to rebuild and for the long haul. I talked to him earlier this week. I'm really excited about it. But I want to talk not just about the studio, but about the town, about Kingsland itself. What has Kingsland meant to all of you over the past few years, going down there, making that trip to that town? There's just something about when you're making a film and even though you're in this old building and the water is a garden hose into the toilet or whatever, no air conditioning, but you're having the time of your life. What did all of these years in Kingsland mean to you guys?
Well, it meant going to visit my other family. not just the family I have here, it's the family I made down there. When I started with Star Trek Continues, and then when Ray bought the studio from Vic, and I started meeting everybody down there. I went with fan weekend. I met Gary, I met Alan, I met everybody else, and started getting involved with that again. I realized it wasn't just like a one or two off film. I found other people that still want to do this, and I just tried to help wherever I could. So up, need help with this, you need help with that. Just that's who I am. I just like helping, making sure the projects get done. But made a lot of friends down there, and got used to enjoying it. Going down once or a couple times a year to film and see everybody. Met you down there too, Josh. It's just, I don't know. I'm gonna miss it going down there. Sandusky may be okay, but I just liked, hopping out, going to the airport, getting on that plane, and knowing I was gonna go there, see my friends, have fun for 3 days, a week, whatever it was, and make good memories, and make put our Star Trek stories on screen so others can hopefully enjoy them as much as we did when filming them.
Tori, you kind of were one of the people that went to Kingsland the longest. What does that place mean to you?
Well, I'm a plank owner for that studio. I joined Farragut Films in 2012, right after they had broken down the set in St. Mary's and moved it. And when I first walked into the studio on West William, they had the bridge up, and they had just put up the transporter room, but none of the corridor was up. Sick bay hadn't been built yet. The conference room hadn't been built yet. The captain's quarters, Jeffrey's tube, none of that had been built. So I was there when they put the corridor up. I've made a lot of friends through this, and I've worked with, I want to say 5 or 6 different productions that filmed there in one capacity or another. Most of the acting I've done has actually been with Randy Landers, but I worked a lot behind the scenes, especially early on. I worked on 2 of the Star Trek Continues shows, the first 2. I was in and crew for 3 of the original Starship Farragut episodes as Chief Dupree. We did Exeter Trek there. The first Dreadnought Dominion episode, I helped film part of that. Trying to think what else. We shot part of Trek Isolation there, and I was in one of those. Reprised Chief Dupree for that. Done a couple of things that I've done there. Josh even managed to.
Yeah, you even did
that
an Avalon cameo.
Yeah.
So you've done everything. You've gone from, working behind the scenes on Farragut and STC to being the captain of the Dreadnought Dominion. What a ride.
That was unexpected. That was very much unexpected. I first got involved with Dominion Media in 2015, I think, when we did Exeter, the Excalibur logs. And they had asked me to voice Dr. Farrell, which is a singular honor for me, because that particular character has been part of Gary's headcanon since he was a teenager. And
middle school.
I was the one that was chosen to bring her to life, and that's not something that actresses get to do very often. So that was really special, and I didn't expect to see Doc Farrell become the captain. that kind of happened when we were shooting. I can't remember which episode it was, but it just kind of happened. And frankly, I thought that Gary and Randy were not going to step back from being on camera. I really did. So for a long time, I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever, ha ha, yeah, I'm sure you're going to change your mind. And then I got the script, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually going to happen. And, I wanted to, this is the second time I've actually played a captain, and I wanted her to be different from Sean Gabriel, who I had played for Randy Landers. And so I wasn't going to be able to bring the British accent, of course. And Dr. Farrell, when we created her, Gary had asked me to channel an old crotchety country doctor, and I'm originally from West Virginia, so I just amp up the accent a little bit. And, the whole idea was that she was supposed to be an old friend of the captain who had come to Dominion as a favor, which is where we got that first set of scenes in Redemption at Red Medusa from, which is still one of my favorite performances. I greatly enjoyed that. To this day, my favorite one that we've done is still, I can't remember the name of it. The one that we had the giant mushroom on the planet.
We are many.
We are many.
We are many. That's it.
Yeah.
That's still my favorite one of all.
I love that one too.
We had this great scene on the planet's surface between Gary and me, and he made some dad joke, and I just looked up, and broke the fourth wall. I'm looking into the camera. I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Kind of look.
She scolded me. And I said, "Calm down, doctor."
No, but I loved doing stuff like that. And then when we transported back up, we'd lost the security officer, and we transport back up, and of course, Gary's character was all broken up about that, and I had a chance to play into that and show Dr. Farrell kind of reaching out to her friend, the captain, and dude, this was not your fault, kind of back and forth. We had this kind of brother-sister thing going on, and I greatly enjoyed that. When she transitioned to captain, now she's at the top of the food chain, and that changes how she relates to people. And so I've actually been informed by the portrayals of other great fan film captains. George K. Ian's mother, for example, was a tremendous character in early fan films that he had done. Tyler's portrayal of Mason, I have been influenced by. Jeff Green, who figures prominently in the Potemkin universe, I've always had great respect for. John Broughton as Jack Carter. All of these people, watching over the years, watching them play their characters has informed how I voice Maureen Farrell now. It does take a village. It's just been fantastic. All along the way, I've made so many friends, done things, people, been places that I never would have been, done, or seen had I not gotten involved with Starship Farragut in 2012. So I'm profoundly grateful for that opportunity, and I know that they're rebuilding up in Sandusky, and of course I know Dan Reynolds and that crew vicariously. Obviously, we're Facebook friends down at Warp 66, and hopefully we'll film in one of those locations sooner rather than later. That's going to be the longest I've ever traveled to do a film, but these are my friends. It's just like when I got on the train to go to Farragut 2024, to work behind the camera and do what amounts to a bit role, because I'm, that those are my friends, and John wanted to get the band back together, so I'm going, and for Dominion Media, I would do the same.
And for the longest time, there's so many of us that traveled to Kingsland. I drove 16 hours almost every time I went. Now, a lot of the Kingsland people and Jacksonville people like Alan are going to other places. They're going to be coming to Sandusky. They're going to Frederick, Maryland for Farragut. And so that just kind of tells you what this builds. You get this experience, you work with people that you care about, and it transcends. The art is wonderful, and we do it for the art, but the fellowship and the friendship comes to a point where it transcends the art, and it becomes just as valuable as the art. Gary, Randy, what has Kingsland meant to you, and what has building this family meant to you?
Wow. Kingsland, yeah, we keep using that word family and that concept, and that's what Kingsland has meant to me. Well, first, Kingsland was like a religious experience for me at first, because I got to I was introduced to the set by none other than Mike Bednar. So Mike Bednar took us to that front door, so to speak, and then opened it, and then we're going into the corridor, and it was like, the angels were singing down, and halos were everywhere, and that was the religious experience that I had, and and then my first acting experience, where we were shooting Haunted, I was in the captain's chair for 2 scenes, which lasted up 7 hours. So that was the greatest, and it was freezing cold. We all had to have makeup on because our noses were turning red, and we're putting on jackets. And I was like, "Do you need me in the chair?" "Yeah, you need me in the chair," because you could see my ankle. So I would jump in the chair. So that's what Kingsland has meant to me, was those sets, and tore my heart out when they said they had to move, and. I was almost equally moved when I saw them in pieces in Sandusky, but they're coming together. I'm heading up there next weekend. Matter of fact, to Friday. Wow, it's 2 days. So to work on reassembly. So we'll get together, and I drove 12 hours for 10 years, sometimes 3-4 times a year. So when people are bemoaning and they have to drive up from Jacksonville, I'm saying, I did it for 10 years. You can do it once.
Now it's in your backyard.
It took me 1 hour and 58 minutes to get home the last time. I found a back way from Sandusky to Plain City. I was timing it, and I wasn't speeding. I was just... So I'm rubbing it in.
I'll be flying from Central Florida. I can tell you that. That's an 18-hour drive. So
yeah, don't do that. Yeah, if anybody wants to fly into Columbus, the day I'm heading up, I'll shuttle you up there, because the 2 airports are Cleveland and Toledo, and they're like an hour away from Sandusky. But when I went up there for the working party, I think I mentioned I mentioned it no less than 50 times that I'm 2 hours away.
The drive is at least 4 hours less for me to go.
Yes. I'd seen that when we were thinking of going to Warp 66. I go, it's closer to me than Kingsland was, but that drive just never bothered me. I drove down to Kingsland on a weekend just to deliver the captain's chair, and so we spent 12. We drove 12 hours. I spent like 3 hours or 4 hours at the studio, got back in my van, and headed back, and drove 12 more hours home. And they all thought I was nuts. But that's how much I love the studio, and I loved the family, and I wanted a new chair for the next shoot that was going to happen. So that's the dedication that we all give, because we just don't think about it. You wouldn't think about helping your brother, your sister, your cousin, or your best friend, and that's who these people are to me.
Yeah, I got a little family in here right now with me.
He says, "No, let me go, let me go." Mommy, help me.
But we, we'll be back at it again. We'll be doing it again. And, maybe a little bit, maybe we have to do one episode here in Arkansas or whatever, but, we'll be back at it, and we'll be getting all of these people together to enjoy each other's company. And I guess we'll do it as long as we can, make it, as long as we can walk, as long as we can afford to do it. With me, people be like, "Oh, you drive in all this." It never bothered me.
Nope.
I like road trips, but at the same time, I had that trip, like, I had it down to an art, towards the end, where it was like I had the exact gas stations I would stop at. I knew exactly what time to leave in the morning and what time I would get there. It was down to an art form with me, because I did it so much. Because I'd come for Dreadnought, I'd come for Tales from the Neutral Zone, I'd go for Avalon. Like, went down for the Lost Starship and then came back a week later to shoot Avalon. So, I mean, I think last year I went down to Kingsland at least 4 times.
Yeah, it's nuts how much we do this, but we love it. And now I mentioned I'm only 2 hours from Sandusky, right? So I'm going up there as much as I can.
Yeah, Terry, you can all get on, you and Alan and Dan and Kelly, and you can all get on the same flight, make it a group trip.
Yes,
I'll get a big Airbnb up there.
Yes, and Sandusky's a lot more diverse in accommodations and restaurants and things of that nature.
Unfortunately, with all my toys, I'd have to drive.
Yeah, unfortunately. What was that, Victoria?
I said, just don't do it in the dead of winter, because I've already been snowed on for a fan film this year, and I'd prefer not to get snowed on again.
No, we kind of
They got AC, so we can go in the summer.
Well, the ironic thing is our Decembers and Januaries are not as bad as our Marches, because that's when it really gets bad. It's just cold, but you get used to the cold, and the Sandusky Mall has got heat, and it's got bathrooms that aren't hooked up to garden hoses. So
we were up
in when you're making memories, when you're having a good time, you don't care that the bathroom is a garden hose.
Had no care at all. I mean, the illusion of where you were at was just complete when you stepped onto those sets and interact with the people. Victoria related that that first scene of Redemption at Red Medusa, and that's what it's like for most of us. I knew Victoria I knew her from talking on Facebook for the Excalibur logs, but I knew you for a hot minute when we got on stage and did that first scene, and I had been shooting all day long because you came in late and we said, "Hey, can we do this scene?" And Victoria wonders why we chose her to be the captain, because she knows her lines and she knows everybody's lines. So I had practiced mine, and I go, "Let's just do it." So I'm dead tired, which my character was supposed to be dead tired. Mm-hmm. And I was very irate. My character was supposed to be irate, and Victoria just channeled that country doctor and the big sister mentality. And I love that scene, Victoria. I watch that scene just when I'm feeling low and I need a pick me up, because the chemistry on there was just amazing. So when you ask, why was I crazy picking you to be the captain of the Dominion? Who else would I trust? I mean, you're just phenomenal. And that was my idea, by the way. And that was the only idea that Randy never thought I was crazy when I suggested it. He wholeheartedly go, "Yes, that is a great idea." I recorded that line. Matter of fact, I can play it back for you.
I've been in 30-some fan films. That's probably in my top 5 favorite performances I've done.
Yes, I totally agree. And then the green screen studio that we did, where you scolded me for my off the wall comment, was just awesome. So, and you brought it on Randy's highlight episode. The oh gosh, we just in our own time. That's another thing that the dread. I know we're here talking about Valdore, but not so much about Dominion. But Randy's Swan Song episode in our own time was one of my favorites, because Randy got to do everything he wanted to do on set. He got to captain the ship, he got to beam down, he got to shoot the captain.
That was my favorite part.
Well, that's how he pitched the idea. I mean, you give me a hard time because I have these crazy ideas, but Randy started this pitch with, Gary, I have a great episode idea, and it starts out with me shooting you. And that was the preamble. And I go, okay. But that's what Kingsland has meant to me, is these great people that I trust with my time create this vision, and we're going to continue to do it for as long as they'll put up with us.
Randy, what do you have any special memories of Kingsland you want to share?
I have become best friends with Kingsland. I know all the restaurants and all the hotels, and I know that if you head east down to St. Mary's, there's a wonderful little park down there with a pier and people catching crabs off the pier, and then a nice little seafood restaurant right there. And but otherwise, it's basically restaurants and hotels, and the studio. I was just sitting here thinking, though, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to do something artistic. I've tried painting and drawing, and I've tried poetry and short stories. I've tried writing songs. I've tried to learn instruments, and I stink at all of them. And nothing has really caught on. And if you'd have told me a couple of years before we started this that 10 years from now, you will have written, directed, produced, edited, and acted in something like 30 films, under your own title, Dominion Media, mine and Gary's. I would have thought you were insane. What now? But here we are, and
you're a great writer. You're a great writer.
Well, thank you, sir.
He is.
I have my moments.
A lot of good moments.
His little Easter eggs and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Easter eggs from different.
No, that goes there. That goes there.
Yeah, a little Star Wars reference. In this episode, I wanted to tell this before we started the film, didn't get a chance. If now you need to go back and watch it again. Anybody who's a Pink Floyd fan, if you're a Pink Floyd fan, go back and listen to Dan Scanlon's speech when he's talking to the captain. There's a whole line or a couple of lines there that are lifted straight out of a Pink Floyd song.
Nice.
The name of the song is "Keep Talking," and it features what's the guy that wrote A Short History of Time? I never can remember his name. Genius, brilliant.
I don't remember his name, but I love that song.
Yeah. Oh, Keep Talking. You're familiar with the song. Part of the lyrics are, for millions of years, man lived just like the animals until something happened that awakened his imagination. He learned to talk. And then the music plays for a little bit, and it comes back in, and he says, it doesn't have to be like this. All we have to do is remember to keep talking. And I took those two lines and put them in what Dan is saying that she's ignoring. And one of these days, I'll re-edit that and re-render it so that so that you can hear him, because it's in there.
And that was another part that I thought was really funny, is that like he's sitting there saying all this stuff, and she's like, all right, so hey, killing me.
I went to Dan and I
watch.
Oh, he froze again.
Oh my God.
He talked about Dan, that's why.
Talked
Yeah,
about Dan,
boy.
that's right. Well, and speaking of good dialogue, Kevin Thomas, he does great. He just has that deadpan delivery, and he's always his most harshest critic. And I go, Kevin, you did amazing. I loved everything you did about that.
Am I back? So
Okay,
I went to Dennis,
pick it
promise
up,
you,
Randy.
we're not going to make your character a laughing stock. He's not going to be the funny guy. But just in this one scene, just in this one episode, we're going to have fun with it.
What's funny is he left us a while ago, but Dan does like to talk. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed.
Yeah.
And
He
that's
does.
almost kind of why it was sort of funny, is because Dan will get to going sometimes, and so it was just, I thought that was funny, but I love Dan. He's he's always
During
got.
that scene,
And here's the thing: if you listen to what he's saying, it's always interesting. Like he's always he's coming up with some obscure fact, and he's like, "So, well, and he's bringing like, no, I didn't know that."
Yeah. At the time I interviewed Kissinger and Elvis Presley. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's done a lot of that. He's been a journalist for a long time.
Yeah.
So we've got one more episode in this trilogy. What you are able to preview, tell us what is coming next, what you can say.
Well, we've already let it out of the bag that this is the mirror saga. So our Dominion, goes to the mirror universe. So we've been, and that was the crux of my alcohol fueled rant at that dinner, was that we wanted to go to the mirror universe, and then the journey to get us there is what the crossover came into play, and the fact that we were just going to shoot them back to back to back. So it made sense, and it helped Randy write it so that that what we were doing was fresh when we were acting on it. But yeah, we get into the Dominion universe. So the fish out of water, and Victoria's acting chops are challenged once again, because she gets to play two characters, and she appears on screen at the same time with herself, which is amazing. And
you guys always test me. That's what
right.
I love about working with y'all.
And just like every production, Randy and I think of these scenes in our head, and then we shoot the stuff, and then as soon as Randy's got the footage ready, we fight to get in there. Okay, I'm going to sneak in there and do this effect real quick, because it's the most fun, and I try my best just to let him to do that, because he is the master footage layer. He's the one that builds the foundation for the house that becomes this mansion of a production. So and then he usually comes in and says, okay, I did this, now you go in there and fix it. And I don't need to fix it, because that Victoria split screen was, we envisioned it right. Josh, you shot it just perfect. We had it in our head just perfect, and Randy executed it perfect. So my wife always says there's no such thing as perfect. And I go, I have a lot of perfect people in my life, and she's one of them. And you guys are perfect as well.
Josh, is there anything you would like to ask the PP?
Good guests. You're gonna have good guests in the. You saw a little bit of it. We had Bogdan was his name.
Bogdan, yeah, from the Netherlands. Yeah.
He was playing one of the red shirts. You got him. You got Tom Argente.
Yes.
Who has been a Klingon in past episodes. We're going to see him.
I can't wait for this episode, and I might be letting the cat out of the bag, but I pitched a new mirror version of the Dominion opening to Sam, and Sam pre-vised it like in less than 24 hours. So and then it helped that
it helps that you get him excited about something, and then he's like,
yes,
off the
yes.
races.
And
it's going to look good. I love his work.
I got the perfect song for it, the theme song for the mirror opening. So we're trying to figure out where to put it in the production. So the opening may be a little bit longer than the end of the show because of this mirror thing. So that's the one preview that we could say is it goes into the mirror universe, but we're really looking forward to it. I didn't enjoy the beard. I don't like beards. I can't stand it. And yeah, look at Ed stroking his perfect beard. I loved how
there's another way that you guys let the cat out of the bag for the next episode, and that might be something Kelly Hodges did that we'll be looking forward to.
Oh, Arcation. Yeah. Well, it's going to be on the poster, but Kelly's another amazing person. I tasked her with creating a mirror cation, and she just knocked it out of the park. And I was amazed at her process, because you ever see those movies where they're having people design clothing, and they have this like vision board, and they have all the aspects of what they're going to do. She showed me her vision board for the Cation character, and I'm like, wow. And then the day that she wore it, it was amazing. It beats the Ice Princess that she did for in Our Own Time.
Oh, and that's good too.
Hesper.
I love that. Yeah, we went out for breakfast the next day, or that day that she was still in makeup, and we walked into IHOP, and I told the waitress, I'm going to pay for her. She's my daughter from a previous marriage, obviously.
Oh yeah, I went to her and I said, "We'll buy you supper if you'll go in your costume."
Yeah, and she did.
She said, "Okay." Great. I went to Gary and I said, "Is that okay with you?" Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just humbled and amazed by the people that show up and bring it. I mean, Ed'll be anything. He'll be a random admiral. He'll be a Romulan, and he was even a Romulan that we had to take his face out and put a younger version of himself on because
was an admiral in the same episode.
He was an admiral in the same episode. So when he was a Romulan, we replaced his face.
and he'll run out and go get lunch for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Remember that pizza that he got for us at the shoots?
That's the Italian half of me. I have to feed people.
That's right. Oh man,
people have seen Kelly's Cation already in the little film you helped with there, and Sean Kennedy's Treks in 90 Seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we did. That was a deal where we did that same weekend. Because what had happened is he had rescued me when I was stranded on the side of the highway, and so I thought we need to do something nice for Sean, because he's been here the whole weekend, and he helped us out with a hotel room, and he did a lot of stuff. So I was I went to Sean kind of I think it was the next to the last day of shooting, and I said, do me a favor and come up with an idea of something we can do with the people that we have here in about 90 seconds, a 90-second film. Go around, ask people if they want to be in it. Come let me know what you're thinking you want to do, and we'll shoot it. And so Sean came up with the idea of Red Shirt Irregulars, and then he came back to me. And once we were wrapped on Dominion for the day, we stayed late and shot that. And, of course, Kelly's always up for having a good time. And she was still in that Cation makeup, so we included her. And then, of course, I think it was Gary that was like, "You're always stealing my characters," because we put Hesper in Avalon and we put Hesper in Tales from the Neutral Zone. So now
we're just proud of Zoe Kelly.
So it's like, oh man, she's a warrior. When we were doing we did our 4-day shoot where it was Crisis, then it was Once and Future Captain, and then we did 2 days on Tales from the Neutral Zone. 3 out of the 4 days, she was showing up in the Hesper makeup, playing these various different versions of Hesper in the different films. And I think on the night before the final day, she was like, do you need me to show up in that makeup tomorrow? And I said, no, don't do that to yourself again, because we're not on the bridge this time. Show up as Kelly and we'll give you a completely different part. And she showed up just as Kelly the next day, and she had her like wavy hair going. And I have a friend named Cynthia, who is somebody I work with a lot, who's just a good friend of mine. And she looked like my friend Cynthia. And so I was like, today you're Cynthia. And we did a little call out, and Cynthia was so flattered. And she thought Kelly was adorable. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this for me. And so it was a touching thing for her. So, Kelly just stuck with it, for 4 days with us, for 4 days with Dominion. And so when we got to where we're making this film, Tales from the Neutral Zone, History Never Forgets, Ray, his deal was he wanted Rachel Garrett, he wanted Tina to play Rachel Garrett. He wanted to do the Enterprise C. And I just said to him, okay, but I've got one casting that's non-negotiable. I want Kelly Hodges as Tasha Yar. And there it was. And so you're going to see her in Tales from the Neutral Zone as Tasha Yar, and she's amazing.
Yes. I've seen some
her costumes. I've seen some of the costumes she'd show up at Ancient City Con, and it's like, wow.
She's on another level, and she's
yes, she's amazing.
A sweetheart. She's the the heart and soul of whatever film she's on. So there you go. All right, so we've been going for an hour and 45 almost. It's been just a wonderful treat always to have you guys on our channel. We'll throw a party when we get to the Dominion episode. We'll throw a big party. I'll get balloons next time. I wanted a kazoo or something this time, but I got home too late. But we'll have another one of these wonderful parties. And thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to be hopefully doing fan films as long as we can get away with doing them. So
definitely. I look forward to seeing everybody up in Sandusky. You'll love it.
Have a great night, everybody.
To see you in June and
good night.
In Frederick, Maryland.
Yep. See you all there. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Good night. Good night, all.